The woods are dark and the woods lie deep, and the woods are home to summers don't sleep. So sit thee down and hear me tell
More atomic batteries. You will require them for the interchange.
For the trees stand close, are watered in blood.
Most post-apocalyptic games often follow a familiar formula. Harsh, desolate, danger, guns, everything looks dead and just decrepit, depressing, all that stuff. Scavenging resources and battling against enemies and the environment. However, in my opinion, Atomfall, latest open world survival title from Rebellion, breaks away from this norm by presenting an alternate history in 1960s Britain. Unlike the ruined America of Fallout or the desolate Russia wilderness of Metro, Atomfall presents a uniquely British take on nuclear catastrophe, drawing inspiration from real-life historical events of the 1957 Windscale fire. At its core, Atomfall is a survival experience that demands players to be resourceful and aware of the world rather than just aggressive. Unlike many survival titles that push players into frequent combat, like Fallout 4 for example, Atomfall forces players to consider every encounter very carefully. Supplies are scarce, and instead of relying on a extensive arsenal of guns, the player has to be resourceful in how they approach combat. Because ammo is very hard to find, and I feel like stealth is how most players might play through this game and conserve their ammunition for when they truly need it in a combat situation. A unique standout mechanic that I thought was pretty cool was the heart rate system. All actions basically raise your heart rate, where you just get tired. How else to say it? Sprinting, engaging in combat, or panicking in high-stress situations can elevate heart rates dangerously, leading to blurred vision and impairment on the player. Combat in Atomfall is deliberately challenging at times, sometimes discouraging. Enemies can range from really dumb, they don't see you sneaking around, to super perceptive. They'll see you from like a mile away, which is, I'll get on to that later. Exploration is heavily emphasized with non-linear quest structure and encourages players to piece together a story on their own, tracking leads, talking to people, writing notes, recordings, etc. In this way, I feel like Atomfall takes a more organic approach to allowing discoveries to unfold naturally as you play through the game. Thus, it increases immersion, which it can lead to moments of some frustration as players may find themselves wandering without a clear direction. But for those who enjoy playing games that reward curiosity, I think they'll find Atomfall deeply engaging. Others may struggle with lack of guidance, but you can be helped with some difficulty settings you can change in the options. Rather than presenting its story through a lengthy cutscene or heavily exposition, Atomfall unfolds through environmental storytelling, documents, and NPC interactions like I mentioned before. Players gradually uncover the truth behind a disaster by exploring abandoned homes, suffocating messages, maybe even engaging in some puzzles, and conversing with survivors who may have their own secrets and agendas. So you want to pay attention to what they're saying, as it could give you a clue about where to find some extra loot, or push you along this naturally and organically, like I said. The game's historical inspiration adds another layer of intrigue. While the real-life Windscale fire was contained, Atomfall imagines the world where disaster sprawled out of control, leading to a larger nuclear catastrophe, similar to Stalker in a lot of ways. This alternate history approach makes the game feel eerily plausible, giving its grounded and unsettling tone that separates it from more fantastical post-apocalyptic settings. In terms of atmosphere, I feel Atomfall excels. Although, across my 25 hours of playing, I don't think there's a day and night cycle, which I think would have added a lot to the game. Being able to sneak up into bases and all this stuff at night. Granted, the world's not that big, but I don't know, it would have been really cool. The world has a mix of haunting beauty, grouping dread, rolling hills, stone cottages, wind attack, yet I think always feels slightly off. Whether it's unnaturally quiet, it's an echo, or you see a blue TARDIS on the side of a cliff. You go up to investigate, it's suddenly gone. How strange. I didn't really notice much sound design when playing the game. It's a lot of ambient type stuff that really I cut out as just noise. But the audio design is very good, And I have to give props to the sound design, especially when it comes to the music. 'Cause the music is pretty good. I like it. I really do feel tension in my body. What? When I'm like combat and the music starts playing. It's pretty good. Although I did have some minor performance issues in the game, occasional some frame drops, mainly in denser areas or in combat. And some minor bugs I found were clipping issues, and pathing errors where they'd walk into buildings. But other than the game sometimes going below 50, it ran pretty good for the most part. For the game's strengths, I feel like its unique setting in Britain brings a lot of more culture to the game that we don't often see in this industry. The survival mechanics are there, but not quite as immersive as I hope they would be. But the environment is where this game truly shines, and it's in storytelling using the environment, all sorts of stuff. As well as an immersive and eerie atmosphere enhanced by a strong sound design and world building. The game's weaknesses, I feel, are its stealth mechanics, as they aren't very good. Also, a little bit of lackluster melee combat too, which is probably the most you're gonna be using in the game is melee. And I feel like for some players, I feel like a clear lack of guidance, at least some of them feeling lost, and some animations and stuff feel dated, but not bad by any means. And in high dense areas, I would find occasional bugs that would break immersion, but nothing too crazy that would like you want to turn it off. Nothing game breaking, thankfully. Atomfall is not a game for everyone. It's slow paced, methodical, and its approach to survival and storytelling requires patience and a willingness to engage in its world at a deeper level. Players looking for a fast paced, combat heavy experience might find it too slow or even frustrating. Over those who appreciate environmental storytelling, immersive world building, a sense of discovery, Atomfall is rewarding. That experience lingers in the mind long after playing. I may not play this game ever again. I'm sure glad I did, as it was a fun experience. Despite its flaws, mainly in stealth, AI, and occasional technical hiccups, the game succeeds in crafting a unique atmosphere, travel experience, and I feel like fans of Stalker and Long Dark and Darkwood might find Atomfall to be quite enjoyable. And the story, without spoiling too much, is actually quite interesting. I found it engaging, and it was fun to learn about this world. That's my review of Atomfall. Thanks for watching.